Hi, guys and gals. This is part 2 of our teaching class, I guess you could call it. We're going to talk about divination tools and how dangerous they are. And they can relate to a lot of New Age stuff. And this is very important because I've seen a lot of it throughout the years, and a lot of people think that it's not a big deal, but it is. So we're going to talk about that. Stick around.
And now we interrupt, disrupt, and crash this station.
The man fighting for peace, his legacy, truth in a sea of stupid.
Filtered for your sarcastic enjoyment, Ghostgetter.
And before I want to get to this, I wanted to talk about a few things real quick. I noticed there have been a lot of people that have requested me on my friends list lately on Facebook. A lot of paranormal people that are ghost hunting, psychics, this person, that sort of thing. And I accepted a lot of them. Of course, I get the average. Once a day, I'll get the, come join my page for good sex. And, it's always easy to tell the frauds between the frauds and the non-frauds. So, I delete them and all that. So I can always tell the difference. I don't know why they continue to do it. But anyway, those people out there, that I've even had a few that asked me to join their YouTube channel, which I do, and I don't mind doing it. But I wanted to let people know beforehand that this channel, you may not like it. Because what I believe in may not be what you believe in. I believe that all of it is demonic. I don't believe that every house is haunted and every house is demonically haunted. But if it is, it's demonic. Let me tell you why. Because it says in the Bible that it doesn't exist. People don't die and come back from the grave. It says that the dead know nothing. They don't rise up. It doesn't happen. Now, if you're an average person that believes religiously in God, you should know and follow this. You cannot follow God and not follow God's word. Now, if you argue and say, well, it's been written by man and blah, 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 so I don't believe it. Why would you believe a ghost if it was human? Do you think they don't lie? But anyway, not to argue. I understand where a lot of people come from and everything, but my idea on here is to teach you why and how that this is possible. I've showed a lot of people in the past years the truth. I've shown a lot of people going into places that it's not demonic. I've showed a lot of people that own houses and stuff that the little girl ghost all of a sudden turned evil, and that everything just did a complete turnaround and was not what they were usually seeing. The real stuff came out. So I've spent a lot of years proving that this stuff does exist. I've spent a lot of my younger years being stupid, not being very experienced. I believe I've talked to a few, and I got big-headed and egotistical, and that was just stupid. But that's a long story. But I wanted those people to know that join Facebook that you can believe whatever you want to believe. It's your choice, and I'm not going to knock you for it. But it's only fair that you do not knock me for what I believe in. I've had a lot of people get angry with me, had a lot of people take me off their friends list. I've had a lot of people attack me, a lot of people do this, and a lot of people do that. And not one of them can prove me wrong over the last 30 years. So therefore, and it has to be a pretty interesting situation, because I find it ironic that a lot of these ghost hunters and people that I've known through the years, some of them famous, some of them not, do not want me to be involved in what they're doing. And you got to ask yourself why that is. Some of them don't want the truth to come out. Some of them don't want to find out what it really is. It would take away a lot from them, I believe. And it's more fear than anything. I've been to quite a few places that have haunted places that people have owned that would not be in the house when I'm there because they're too afraid of finding out what it is. They'll go in there with your everyday average ghost hunters because they think it's fun, but they won't be there when I'm there. Why do you think that is? So, I don't go into places where people don't want help. I won't go help those that are looking to make money. I'm not going to help those that are looking to be on TV or have TV show ghost hunters show up to their house. I'm not going to do that because if you're going to be a person or people that want this stuff gone from your life completely, you have to be serious about it. You have to be serious in here. You can't just say it and expect it to happen. You can't just pull out a cross and think it's going to work because they know in here, inside of yourself, that you're serious. They know if you're serious or not. So that's why I come on here and show you these teaching tools, show you things that are causing the problems, how to fix them, how to rid of them, and that's why we're doing these videos. So, like I said, I'm not here to knock anybody or attack anybody, or because I'm not going to go after religion or anything like that. But if you're going to believe in God and take it with you inside of a place, it would be smart to follow what he says in the Bible. It would be the smartest thing to do that. And not just say it but don't mean it. Because if you say it and you don't mean it, they already know it before you have walked in the door, so there's no point. And you ever notice, here's a question. Why is it that every place has the little girl ghost? Why is it that every place has the woman in white? Why do you think that, it's the same scenario everywhere you go? Why do you think that happens? That's the question you got to ask yourself, and maybe you can answer it on your own. But, yeah. So let's get started with the part 2 of our teaching tools, so to speak. And by the way, I forgot to mention that, a couple of months ago, I was in my house for a while, and for a while this was going on. After a bad storm, it sounded like, after it was over and, time went on, I get up at night and I would hear what sounds like someone walking across the roof or ceiling of my house. And it was going on night after night. You would hear it. It was creepy. You would hear it go from the bedroom into the kitchen, or from the bedroom into the bathroom, and so on and so on. And it was weird because I would actually be standing up at night listening to it going across the ceiling or the attic. And I noticed when I come out of my house one morning that there were shingles on the driveway and some on the grass on the side of the house. So we called a roofer to come out and fix the shingles on the house and fix it. And after he came out and fixed it, we no longer heard the sound. Well, no one else really heard it. We no longer heard the sound of a person walking across the roof like someone was walking in the attic. The whole thing was, it wasn't haunted or anything like that. The sound was the shingles being loose on the roof, and when the wind would blow, it would sound like each one of them would flutter in a row or whatever, and it would sound like someone walking or whatever. It was really weird, but I find it was interesting that after he fixed it, it all went away. So a lot of times it's just your house, whether it's the creaking roof or the window or the house settling or animals underneath your house. crawling in, like someone I know has 2 armadillos living under their trailer that dug a hole. Things like that. So sometimes it's good to check that beforehand, because not everything is haunted. So anyway, getting into the divination tools is the biggest problem of having issues in your house. I'll tell you a story of of one particular person that I knew, that I know one time I went into her house and she told me when I got there that her brother was not home. And I thought it was interesting because as her and I are heading into another room, we passed her brother's room, and I could hear, with the door closed, shuffling papers, like books and papers or something shuffling around, like someone was going through things, like they were looking for something. And I remember telling her, looking at her, telling her, I thought you said your brother wasn't home. She said, no, he hasn't been home all day. Apparently she didn't hear it. So when she went and did her own thing, I opened the door and looked in there, and sure enough, there was nobody in there. So, you know, I never said anything. I don't say anything to people like that because, one, it'll scare them. And two, they won't have nothing to do with me because I hear things like that other people don't. Now, you can call me schizophrenic, but I don't know of any schizophrenic people that hear objects moving. I don't know of any schizophrenic people that have problems hearing things, and there's a person standing next to them that hears it too. I've had witnesses that were with me that have heard things before when I was with them. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do when I'm with them. Now, I remember one time I walked into, because my mother worked for a mental health facility once, years ago. I walked in there one time and I was talking to her about this because I had issues living at my sister's house. And I was telling her what I caught on camera, and she tells me, you might want to keep it down and not say anything because people think you're crazy. I said, well, apparently my camera is crazy too because my camera picked it up. So apparently my camera has schizophrenia, and the people that come to my house that are friends have schizophrenia too because they've heard it too. And some of my family members who've recorded stuff and have evidence, they have schizophrenia also. So as their tape recorders and their videos and everything else apparently has schizophrenia because they picked it up also. So, you know, there's been many, many times where someone was with me when something happens. I know one time I went into a house, and if I was sitting in a chair and it felt like someone was about to jump me from behind, and I jumped out of the chair and went, oh, like that. Crap. And they said, what? And I said, I felt like someone's about to jump me or something, like they were hovering over me. He looked at me like I was insane. But later on, he caught an audio. I believe it was his audio. Before you hear me get up and say, oh, like that. And he says, what? You heard somebody going, like that, like someone trying to scare somebody. And he actually heard it. I didn't hear it, but he caught it on audio. So that was really weird. But anyway, when we were walking into the house, I found out later on, this is an old friend of mine. One time, she opened the closet door, and I don't know what she was looking for. I don't remember. But on the top shelf, there was a Ouija board that fell. And I asked, you know, being young and naive, I started out in a church that was very strict and had come to following rules. Now, if you're going to do something and you're going to be a part of God's kingdom and a part of God's, a part of the church, you have to follow rules. I mean, that's simple. I mean, come on. What's the point in going if you're not going to 10 Commandments, you know, all kinds of stuff? If you're not serious about it, what's the point in being in there? So, anyway, I was out of the church for a while, so I got kind of naive, and I got to the point where I kind of lost that in me, so I didn't think about things much as I should have, and I didn't take things seriously like I should have. If it was today, it would be a whole different ball game. But when the Ouija board fell, and I took a look at it, it was something I've never seen before. And I still haven't seen it to this day. It was very old. It was Gothic. I'd never seen the numbers and the letters like that before. They were Roman numerals. It was almost as if it was kind of a hieroglyphic kind of thing, but it looked extremely old to me. And I asked, "What is that?" And I remember she said, "Nothing," and hid it. And I didn't think much of it then. I just blew it off, love is blind, that kind of thing. Like I said, today it'd be a whole different ball game. But I know today, thinking back on it, I think to myself, whatever that piece of equipment was pretty serious. Whoever was messing with it, that's just not something you buy at a Target or a Walmart. That's a pretty serious piece of equipment. So I don't know where they got it from, but it had to have been pretty important. But at least that's what I think. But now I know that is one of the reasons why I was hearing stuff in the other room. When I come to her brother's room. And I noticed when I walk in, and the same thing goes with other places. When I walk into a place, I'll notice that the first thing I'll do is I'll look at them. I'll look at the place around it, so on and so forth. And if they got problems, one of the biggest problems could be the fact that they have things that they keep. And those are divination tools. Conjuring mirrors, Ouija boards, tarot cards, crystals, you name it, things like that. New Age stuff. And they're very, very addicted to it. And you can be addicted to this stuff. The more you do it, the more you can get addicted to it, like smoking or gambling. Trust me, I've known people that have. But if I see a whole bunch of stuff like that around, and a person is serious about getting rid of stuff, the first thing I think is get rid of it. That's your first order of business, is get rid of this stuff. The other day I saw a show, The Prophet, which is about Marcus Lemonis. He tries to help other failing businesses, that sort of thing. He's a billionaire. And I noticed he was trying to help this pizza place. And the pizza place, there was a woman that was a partner of the owner. She was ugly, mean kind of thing. Not looks, but mean. Always arguing, always dramatic, always pissed off. Just, the woman seemed a bit like there was something wrong with her. Mentally. And I noticed that she started doing New Age stuff. Sage. And the way she talked and the things she's tried to do in the place, yogi kind of things. And at one point I noticed, which no one else probably did but me, as she was talking to Marcus Lemonis, I noticed she had a crystal necklace around her neck. And I said, well, there's a problem right there. For someone that believes in peace and love and yogi, isn't it a little ironic that these people are angry, violent, dramatic, and just lost it? So I found that very interesting. So I'm going to show you something. Thank goodness for Zoom. I can finally do this the right way. I'm going to show you something that I thought was very interesting. About, I guess the late 90s. I heard on Casey Kasem talk about Alanis Morissette, and I've talked about it on my show a while back. And I showed her, he talked about how she wrote her lyrics by automatic writing, which that means that she would get possessed, intentionally get possessed, and the spirits would take over her body and write the lyrics out. Now, come on. Really? Do you find that a little strange? But this was on her website, Jagged Little Pill 20th Anniversary Tour, and this is her top 10 tools of divination. And I found this interesting. Pendulums, which is not good. Tarot cards, numerology, a Qing book of coins, crystals, essential oils, stream of consciousness writing, which is exactly true what Casey Kasem said about the spirits letting her take over and write the lyrics to her songs. This is why her songs are a little strange if you read the lyrics to them. Signs and signals, opening a book on a random animal messages. Now that's stuff you need to be careful of. And it's just flat out dangerous. Here's a little stones, which is what a lot of them do. New Age people carry a lot of these things. And one day I'll get into a show and I'll talk about the New Age and how dangerous this is. Now that I got Zoom, I can show you some of the videos from Margaret Sanger and how dangerous the New Age is, and how she was a part of the Planned Parenthood started that, and what do you call it? The Aryan, the plan of the Aryan, and the eugenics program, and how dangerous that is. But anyway, I found it interesting that this is on Alanis Morissette's site because she's known to be one of these people. New Age. And I guarantee you, she's got issues. She may think it's not a big deal, and a lot of people that do this may think it's not a big deal. And some will even say, well, nothing's happened to me, and I do stuff, tarot cards, and I do Ouija boards all the time, and it don't bother me any. Nothing ever happens to me. Yeah? Wait till you change your mind and decide to do the opposite and not do it anymore. Because I've known people that were in the New Age that were doing that and were very, very deep into it. And when they changed their life and started to go in a direction of God, these little spirits and gnomes and elves and things like that started to get ugly. Everything started to do a complete turnaround and got evil. They started having attacks. Violent things were happening to them in their home. You name it, they were having issues. And I find it very interesting that the Chi and the Yogi and the Buddha and all that stuff, they're supposed to be peaceful and kind and blah, blah. Oh, I'm just here to help you. All of a sudden, got violent. If Yogi and Buddha is not violent, supposedly, then why would it have a problem if you decided not to do it anymore? So, you know, these people had a complete turnaround in their life, and what got rid of them and these issues was finding God and really having meaning for it and actually doing it. Their lives completely changed, and they became better people. And they didn't have these issues anymore. So, and because they meant it. Now, here's something interesting I wanted to bring up. The strange mysterious history of the Ouija board. Now, you know, I've talked about this on my show before. It was discovered in 1891. The first advertisements started appearing in papers. The wonderful talking board. Boomed in Pittsburgh. A toy and novelty shop described a magical device, answers questions about the past, present, future with marvelous accuracy, and promised never-failing amusement and recreation for all classes. You know, it's really said that no one really knows where this came from when it started. They say Hasbro, I think, started it or bought the rights to it, but no one really knows. Tool of the Devil, family game, a fascinating glimpse into the non-conscious mind. But this is interesting. Between the known and the unknown immaterial, another advertising New York newspaper declared it interesting and mysterious and testified as proven, this is interesting, as proven at a patent office before it was allowed, price $1.50. Now, everybody knows that when you make claims and have things like this, medicine or things that are supposed to be working and you need a patent, you have to prove it to get a patent. You have to prove that the stuff is real to get a patent for it. So I thought that was interesting. Proven at a patent office before it was allowed. So you got to ask yourself, how is it proven? What did they actually show at the patent office that they proved before it was allowed? So you got to ask yourself that when you do this. It's interesting because this is, see, I like doing this because this is pretty much what I would do on my show for years. And people wouldn't exactly see it. But now you guys can see it. So, and I would have to play the audio because I can't show the video when I was doing my radio shows. So now I can show the video. So you'll get to see what I'm looking at. This mysterious talking board was basically what's sold in board game aisles today. They even have a tantalizing pink Ouija board to, like dangling cheese to draw you in and buy it. Some even come up with this. One person tried to get me to promote their angel board once. Oh, I tore them a new one on my show. Angel board. Well, you talk to angels instead of demons. You talk to angels instead of actual dead people. Really? Seriously? You think I'm going to fall for that one? So, I thought that was really, really, by the way, this Smithsonian Magazine, 2013. So I'm sure I probably talked about it. A flat board with letters and alphabets arrayed in semicircles above the numbers 0 through 9, yes and no, blah, 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 and a planchet. A teardrop-shaped device, usually with a small window in the body, used to maneuver about the board. The idea was 2 or more people would sit around the board and, blah, blah, blah. Though truth in advertising is hard to come by, especially in products in the 19th century, the board was interesting and mysterious. It actually had been proven to work at a patent office before its patent was allowed to proceed. And today, even psychologists believe it may offer a link between the known and the unknown. These are psychologists. These are people that say, well, there's no ghost, you're just crazy. In so many words. The real history of the board is just about as mysterious as how the game works. Ouija board historian Robert Murch has been researching the story of the board since '92, and he started his research, says that no one really knew anything about its origins. Did you find that interesting? No one knows where it came from. It struck him as odd for such an iconic thing that strikes both fear and wonder in American culture. How can no one know where it came from? Ouija board, in fact, came straight out of American 19th century obsession with spiritualism, the belief that the dead are able to communicate with the living. Spiritualism, which is a part of the New Age, which had been around for years in Europe, hit America in 1848 with the sudden prominence of the Fox sisters, and of course, Madame Blavatsky. In upstate New York, they claimed to have messages from spirits that wrapped the walls, but that was later proven that those two were faking it. Spiritualism worked for Americans. It was compatible with Christian dogma, meaning one could hold a seance on Saturday night and have no qualms about going to church the next day. They can hold a seance on Saturday and go to church on Sunday. There you go. It has meaning. This is interesting. The average lifespan was less than 50. Women died in childbirth, children died of disease, and men would die in war. Even Mary Todd Lincoln, yeah, she was doing seances and things like that, which I find it very interesting as well. I think this is the patent. Yeah, that's the patent in 1890 for it. It's really weird. As spiritualism has grown, which is, Alanis Morissette, has grown into American culture, and I won't play her songs on my station. If I find out that these people were intentionally doing this stuff and spiritualists, demons writing their lyrics and so on and so forth, they think it's not. Some of them know what it is and just lie about it. I won't have them on my station. I've banned quite a few people for that and won't play their music. Let's see. Calling out alphabet and blah, blah, blah. You know the story. You can find this on SmithsonianMag.com. Just search up Ouija boards and you'll find it on here. I can leave the link at the bottom of the YouTube video if you want to see it. But I just think it's interesting that there's a whole big old story about this. And it's a very interesting story. And a lot of people don't realize where it came from. But then again, there's other tools as well that I've talked about. Conjuring mirrors. And pendulums, tarot cards, crystals, rocks, like down here. And, let me show you a picture. Let me see. Let me see if I can find spiritual crystals. Cryats. The older I get, the harder it is to tap, dial, and things like that. And you see right here is what I'm talking about. You'll see the necklace that woman had on TV, had one of these necklaces right here on TV. She had one of them around her necklace. And I've noticed it immediately, what she was doing. And what you see people with stuff like this all the time, people like that. And I've known people that have had those sort of things. I know one person in particular that I busted, and it's a long story. You can go on my YouTube channel and look at other things that I've talked about, where I had issues with them, and I believe they were into this stuff. I don't know how deep into the cult they were involved in or anything like that, but I know that they had crystals they collected. Apparently the same person that I was talking about with the Ouija board and so on and so forth. I've had issues with them for years. And it's because of this stuff. Because of these divination tools, tarot cards, crystals, stuff like that, is the reason I had trouble coming out of this person. This is the reason I've had issues. And I've been trying to prove this for years. And all of a sudden, one day I decided to look up on their Facebook channel and see what they liked. And sure enough, there was a person that was selling these things. They're really, really into crystals of protection. Divination tools. Things of that nature. And I notice, well, it just proves what I said to be right. That they know everything I'm doing without saying anything to anyone. They know where I am at all times without telling anybody where I'm going. They know everything about my background, my biggest fears, my biggest strengths, weaknesses, everything. And the interesting part about that is where they're getting the information from. Oh, I'm getting it from Yogi, some guy named Yogi. When actually, you're not getting the information from the person you think you're getting it from. So that goes for you psychics, too. Be careful where you think you're getting the information from, because you're not getting it from who you think you're getting it from. Some of you already know that. Some of you don't know that. But your information is not coming from who you think it is. And I think that's the same here. This person was getting the information from something by using these tools. And a week later, when I went back to their Facebook page, they took all this down. So, which, tells me a lot. So they are watching everything I do, which I don't really care. I have nothing to hide. Definitely not the person that they think I'm going to be. Maybe that's why they don't like me anymore, because I'm not into what they do. Maybe I'm just not easily fooled anymore. I don't know what the reason is. I'm not going to be egotistical about it, because who knows? I'm not perfect, but never was, never will be. And I think that's the smartest thing to do, is be humble and be true to yourself, because you're not as strong as you think you are. But anyway, so that's a little piece of info I'm telling you. Definitely, tarot cards is another thing I would be very, very, very wary of. Tarot cards. Because it ain't no different than Ouija boards to me. It's no different. But the thing about tarot cards is, or anything like this, Ouija boards can be basically put into anything. Tarot cards, just talking to somebody and trying to get them to talk back to you is dangerous. For stupid reasons, for years, I've done EVPs. And I still have EVPs on there. I pretty much aimed that out when I found I was actually talking to something I shouldn't have been talking to, which I got audio of that. And one day I think I have it on YouTube already, but getting EVPs and doing DVRs and trying to get their attention and talking to them is no different than a Ouija board. This is the way I feel about it. If I go into any place anymore and record, I don't do that anymore. I won't ask no questions or nothing like that. I just want people to know how dangerous this stuff is and what it really is. But I don't go into places. It's been so long, so. But anyway, that's one thing you have to learn. Getting EVPs is just as dangerous as, and people have asked that question for years. It's the same as using a Ouija board. I think it is. I don't think it's any different. But I guarantee you, having this stuff in your house and dealing with it, you will have problems. You will have issues. You will my house is haunted. I think it's cool. Do you have Ouija boards in your house? Yes. There you go. And I hear these people out there saying, hey, it's not dangerous. I do it all the time. Doesn't bother me none. Wait till you get rid of it and turn your life around and not have anything to do with this stuff anymore. They're going to do exactly what you say, and they're not going to bother you if you're doing what they want you to do. As long as you don't follow God, His rules, and His ways, and the truth, they're not going to bother you. They're not going to have anything to do with you because you're doing exactly what they want. And you think, well, as long as they don't bother me, everything's going to be okay. No, it won't. It may be okay today, But tomorrow it won't be. Trust me, it won't be. It's going to be much worse for you later on than it will be today. So my advice is I would get rid of it as fast as I could. But I think God, I know, is the only way to help. Bring a Bible into your house. Open it up and see what happens. So, anyway, that's pretty much it with that. I probably ran out of your time and used up more than 20 minutes and everything. So, that's part 2. Any questions, comments, leave it on the bottom. I'll talk to you more about it, and I'll put it on the comment section and everything. I used to have this show for 2 hours where I did this, so so anyway, I appreciate everybody coming to the channel. I'm glad I got Zoom. I'm glad I got something where I can actually do more of this. This is a cool thing to use, and it helps show people what I really made. It's a lot easier work and everything else, so I thank everybody for coming here, and part 3 will be coming up soon. Until then, I thank everybody, and like, share, and subscribe. And these links I'll leave at the bottom for you to read for yourself. So until then, see you guys and gals. Hey everybody, don't forget to check out Reverse 96 FM on TuneIn, Streama, and now internetradio.com.